everyone, we're going to be doing this picture today. This is the double page spread I've been working on from World of Flowers. If you haven't done any of them yet, you don't have to do the early ones first. You can just join me at this point and then catch up with the others later if that's what you would like to do. I'm going to come in a little bit closer and just move my book a bit so we can get this flower in shot. I need to put my book underneath my pencils. Oops. There we go. Now I'm using my Schpirerr Farben Pencils. If you don't have the pencils, there are comparison swatch charts on my channel, so you can go and have a look at those on my Ko-fi shop, sorry. You can go and have a look at those, download them for free, and find the nearest colour matches in other sets, or you can just guess. Some people do, they just like to have a go. Now I have realised that we've got no violet-y purple flowers at all on this page so far, so I think we need to do some here. So I'm going to grab my deep purple, I think it's the darkest purple on my swatch chart, just trying to find it, here we go. And what I'm going to do with this one is start with a dark purple in the centre there, and then go a slightly lighter one and then a lighter one there. Just use those blocked areas that Johanna's marked for us. So with this very dark deep purple, I'm just going to do this really tiny dot in the centre of the centre, if that makes sense. Not really. So I'm going to sharpen up my pencil and get colouring in the centre. So I'm not going to do anything special, it's a very small space. I'm just going to fill it in like that. Really easy, simple start. Now next I'm going to go to a slightly lower isn't the correct word, a slightly lighter colour, and this is the violet. It's a very pretty colour, and we're going to just do this outside circle still in our centre of our flower. I need to sharpen this as well, it's quite a small space. Now on the picture here we did these corner bits with the petal colours, and I'm pondering what to do with these. Because I really like this colour, I'm sort of tempted to use this one rather than just use the petal ones. So I'm having a little think as to whether I should follow the pattern of the one next door. I think I probably should really. I think it will sort of match in better, so maybe I won't use this one. So there is our violet, and now I am going to use the colour called tyrian purple, if I can find it. There it is, tyrian purple. I'm going to sharpen it again. Now for this section we've got a little bit more space to play with. I'm going to show you on the largest one first because it's easier to demonstrate on a slightly larger space. These are a little bit smaller. And start in the centre here with more layers. So I'm going over what I'm doing a little bit to layer it up and then fade it out towards the, as we go out towards this wibbly line like that. And then I'm just going to try to even it out a little bit. So just going to go back over some of the areas to fill in some of the bits that I've missed like that. And then I'm going to do exactly the same on all of the segments, so I'm not going to talk you through it, I'm just going to do the same thing. So yesterday's video, I think I was talking about the fact that I was going to go to an art exhibition, and I have now been to that exhibition. It's actually the same day recording these videos, but I went to the exhibition and it's now the afternoon, and I thought I would make a few more videos for you. I was contemplating, I was like, should I make videos? Should I watch the Paralympics in colour? The Paralympics was badminton. Wasn't that interested really in badminton, to be honest, and I think the sort of medal winning events were a little bit later on in the day. I prefer watching one where, you know, there's a medal at stake, a little bit more interesting. And although I like playing badminton, watching it not so doesn't excite me quite so much. So anyway, I thought I'd come and I can tell you about the exhibition. So there were 2 artists exhibiting, one who is a photographer and one who makes mosaics out of china. So yeah, mosaics. So it was quite interesting what they'd done. They'd worked their pieces in together. So the photographer had made 4 huge backdrops where she had printed out parts of her photographs onto huge pieces of fabric, pinned those up on 4 of the walls, and each had a theme. So we had a spring, summer, autumn, winter type theme, and on top of the fabric she had put some of her pieces, some of her photographs, which was still reflected in that theme, as well as the other the mosaic artist had put some of her pieces on there too, as well as having separate areas with some of her pieces. The ones that fitted in with the theme were on there and others weren't. So it was quite interesting. Now the mosaic pieces are fascinating. Now the lady basically gets old china and ornaments and things like that and breaks them up into pieces and then uses those pieces in her mosaic. So she might, for example, make a shape of a hand which she has drawn, I assume, and then moulded out, made some sort of mould for her base, and then she puts the pieces of mosaic in, and some of them are just coloured pieces to form some of the pattern, and then there might be, for example, a flower or a word or something, or a shape which then is quite significant within that piece. So quite a few of them were hands and they were holding flowers, and the flowers had been cut out of the mosaic pieces. Or various things she does. You might do a bowl of fruit, and each piece of fruit is a piece of china from a particular piece that she has cut up. So she sort of has tile cutters, cuts up china to make these mosaics. And I was imagining when I was looking at these pieces what her workshop might be like, and that she's probably got various boxes full of green pieces, red pieces, blue pieces, that sort of thing. But I went onto her Instagram page, and she's called Cleo Mussi, M-U-S-S-I, by the way. I went onto her Instagram page, and on some of her very early Instagram entries it showed some parts of her workshop, and she has these big drawers like the architect's drawers, I think, and little pieces inside of, and one of them had sort of floral pieces and, you know, different things like that. It was quite fascinating, but I would have liked to have seen a little bit more. But maybe like me, French lavender for the outside pieces, she might not be keen to show her workspace. I certainly am not. My workspace is not photogenic, shall we say. So no. Yes, the French lavender, I've just sharpened it, and we're going to do these outside pieces, and we're going to do exactly the same by starting a little darker here on the edge, and then fading our colour towards the tip. So what was, yeah, the photographer's work was quite interesting too. It was quite botanical, which obviously I enjoy, and it was sort of like people with hair pieces that were floral or dressed like flowers or things like that. I can't remember her name, I'm afraid, but anyway, and her big backdrop pieces were photographs of sort of forests in different seasons, or a wildflower meadow was the summer one. But then she also had photo pieces that had, it was quite strange. So you had your forest, let's say here, or your wildflower meadow, and then in front of it here was people and a ground, like you know, a family stood on autumn leaves or something like that, you know. But it was superimposed on top, so it was 2 or maybe 3, I couldn't quite tell, photographs put together into one. But to me it was really obvious it was superimposed, and I wasn't really sure whether that was supposed to be the idea. because the spring one had sort of blossomy trees, very pretty, you know, like they were sort of cherry blossom or apple blossom, I wasn't quite sure, it was white blossom. And then for this sort of bit, and then down here we had like a woodland floor, and there were two kids with like wheelbarrows doing sort of pottering about with spades and things, which was quite cute, but I didn't understand why they were there. I just liked the picture without them in it. But obviously I just didn't get it. So I'm not sure, maybe no, I think I was missing something. But it was just the way it was put together, the fact that the two artists had collaborated in the way they were going to display their work was really quite interesting, as well as their work was so different, and yeah, it seemed to work and come together. Now our favourite piece with the mosaic pieces was a bumblebee, and its wings were just made of various bits of white china, but its body had a large black bit and then a large yellow bit and a large black bit, so the sort of body had this sort of flash of colour, which was really interesting. And we came back and showed our boys, one of our boys actually, the other one wasn't interested, the picture, and said, look, this is the one we liked. And it sold apparently within 5 minutes of the exhibition opening. A lot of pieces had sold, which is rather nice news for the artists. My son was like, what, that? And I was like, yeah, it's you know, I can't remember how much it was, £300 I think, and it's, you know, as big as my hand, if not bigger. And he went, scam. That's awful. That's funny. But I find her pieces interesting. She does faces within pieces, and I'm not very keen on those, because she uses like handles for ears, you know, like from cups, which I think is quite interesting, but it looks quite, doesn't look very pretty, let's put it that way. Makes the ears look very big. I don't really like being drawn attention to ears. Maybe it's just me, I'm not sure. Right, we're going to do the we're going to do the corners with the purples. So I'm going to start with the French lavender and do the centre ones. I'm going to do them maybe a bit differently to the, I don't know which colour I did where on the ones on this side. The yellows are so similar. So I've got a hiccup coming. Oh. Yeah, it was nice. We went there, and then our museum is in the middle of a park. It's actually a house, an old house, because the park is the garden of the house. This is Tyrian purple. It's quite a fascinating, I don't know what the house was called. I'm sure I could find out if I looked easily enough. But their house has had an extension built as well. Part of the museum is an extension, which is actually where the exhibition was. It's got a little garden out the back where they're growing the sorts of plants they feel would have been in the house garden. Although the garden's been landscaped, and it's got a sort of education room type thing in it as well, like a temporary building that you for schools and things like that. I'm going to use the tropical green first. It's quite a dark colour, but I think I can pull it off. Is that it there? I could try and find it, sorry. Bear with me. And I think that's it. There it is, tropical green. It's dark. I'm going to use it for the stems and a bit of the leaves, just like we have for the others. Yeah, so that was rather nice. We popped out to the garden, but a lot of the flowers were over. I think they tend to be quite spring biased in that garden, so there weren't that many summery flowers, but that was okay. So I'm just putting down a fairly heavy layer, not too heavy, but just colouring over a bit. But we didn't look at the rest of the museum. We've done it so many times, you know. So when it's your town museum, you've been about 1 billion times. Well, actually, I hadn't been many times until I had my children, I have to say, and I used to take them every holidays. There's a room which is made to be like you're sitting in a canal boat. I used to like that one. I don't think I'm going to do any leaf work with this pencil. I'm going to switch to the shamrock. Where's that? Is that it there? There it is. And yeah, sharpen it a bit. But yeah, then they used to have, they've got a toilet in there on display. I mean, there is one for you to use as well. And it's a very decorative bowl with lots of artwork on, sort of blue and white china, I guess. And it's got a pull chain, you know, the cistern on the up high sort of thing like they used to have. And they used to be quite fascinated by that, having never seen one. But my gran had one in her house, and my grandfather. They both lived in council houses. My gran's got change. Eventually the council changed it. My grandfather didn't, but I was only 11 when he died, so didn't. Yeah, I expect it was modernised later, much later, because that would have only been in 1984, I guess. I'm giving away my age. Maybe 85, not sure. But anyway, yeah, so that didn't get changed. I don't know why I'm not going to the edge. I'm trying to make this a little bit more layered up near the centre. And the edges are a bit pale. I'm going to try and find another green to go on top of those edges to just fill in the space without making it too dark. We don't have any pale mint greeny type colours. I think I'm going to have to go with white. Oh, you weren't expecting me to say that, were you? I'm going to give it a try. I don't know if it's going to work, but let's have a try. So yes, and also next to this room, which is a bathroom, it has a sort of sit up and beg bath, as my mother would call it. I don't know what they're really called. Very short, where you would have to keep your knees up. You wouldn't be able to. Anyway, I guess it was smaller. They took less water. They have a little cupboard with all sorts of pill boxes and things in, which is really fascinating. Different tinctures and things that they would have taken. I just find that quite interesting. What were people taking that they thought was good for their health back in the day? I'm going to use the Blooming Bouquet pencil to do a pink background on this one. So because these are purple, I'm going to cheat and colour right over the top of them, because you will barely notice. You can colour around them if you would rather, but I'm going to keep it light and easy. So yeah, we went there, and then I said, let's do the weekly shop, because husband said, we've got to go and buy some milk. I said, let's just do the whole of the weekly shop. We've got the car. Let's just get, instead of tomorrow morning, let's do it. And he was very pleased that we did, because one of the roads was closed that leads to the supermarket from our house. Had to take the hugest detour to get home. And to get there we were okay, because we were coming from a different direction, having been to the museum where the exhibition was, so that was okay. But coming back, there was this huge detour. Well, we just decided on what detour to take, knowing I don't know if there was one in place. I didn't really see one, but anyway, we just did our own, and it was quite busy. And he's like, I'm so glad we didn't do that. This green is so smudgy. You see it sort of smudging into the pink. Right, I'm going to sharpen my pencil a bit and do a little bit more fine work. I want to darken up the corners like I have been doing for all of these. So it's easier to do that with a sharper pencil. And the edges. Yes, so yes, it was quite busy on this little road that we had to take, with cars parked on both sides and that sort of thing. And it was fine, but I was thinking it would have been more, busier tomorrow on a Saturday, with more traffic about, people shopping and that sort of thing, you know. So I'm glad it's done anyway. But we've got to do farmers market, but he said we'd go on foot, which is good because I like walking. I always prefer walking. I haven't walked properly for ages. I was going to go for a walk today, and because we were going to see the exhibition, I would have walked, but my husband doesn't do walking much, not that distance. He can, but it's also given me lots of time for making videos because I got some done so early this morning, which is lovely. Now doing some more. Okay, I'm just going to work a little more on the background and then we'll be done. You can work it as hard or as lightly as you wish. I'm just trying to make it look neat, but I'm not really succeeding because my colours, it's interesting how that hasn't smushed in, but the purple here seems to want to. I don't know why. I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm just going to tidy up a bit. I'm going to try and erase those little bits. No, they're not going to. I didn't think they would. They could, if you get really annoyed with that sort of thing, I'm just going to ignore it. You can put a bit of white pen over that and then colour over it in pink, but you have to be a bit careful with white pen because it can just chip off, so it doesn't always work. You can't always get that idea to work, but you know, you can have a go and see. So there is our next flower. We've got quite a mammoth picture to do next, this one underneath. I'm not sure whether I might break it down into several videos or keep it as one. I haven't really decided yet, the same as the one on the right with all the smaller flowers. But, you know, I'll see what I want to do as the time goes. But thank you for watching today. I hope you're enjoying the series. I hope you have a lovely day and happy colouring.